speak. Okay, so welcome to this really exciting new initiative for UCC Academy. We're using the on-air platform for the first time for our staff meeting. And we're using the opportunity to introduce a conversation about business development. So that's what today is going to be about. Just to tell you how that's going to go, well, we have panelists. We have Marie-Louise and we have Garrod here. And we should be joined, hopefully, in a little while by Sinead and Mary. And so we're going to ask each of those people to say a little bit about how they do business development and what support business development. And unfortunately, the Prime team are all up to their eyes with a deadline tomorrow. So I'll say a little bit about what Prime does and business development. So that first session will last about 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, then we'll go out into our breakout groups, which are randomly assigned groups of 4 people. Hopefully the panelists won't all end up in the same group. And there are some questions that have been circulated, and we like to ask you to look at those questions in the group. And the group session will last 10 minutes. And one person from each group then should write to Sarah, pick out 3 points and just write by email. Now, eventually this would be able to be done interactively with the platform, but at the moment we have we're sort of in development mode, as it were. And so I'll ask Miley to say something more about that in a minute. But just to introduce the topic of business development. Okay, so business development is something that every company has to engage in. We're trying to develop a pipeline for the company, to a solid pipeline of work, and it involves lots of different things. It involves working with clients, with potential clients, to scope out any possible projects that they might like to work with us on, or to employ us to work on. Scoping other things, and it's different for different units within the academy. So international will be different, Prime will be different. But the main thing is that we're looking to retain clients. We're looking to get clients that we've worked with before to use us again. And the context has changed since in the last 18 months or 2 years. Up till now, most of the business development work has really been done by the management team, and that's an activity that just goes on. And in the context of the campus of UCC, you know, there's always a lot of conversations. There's you pick up the phone to somebody, you have a chat, you go and meet them for coffee, and things emerge from those sorts of conversations. But that's not really possible at the moment, obviously, since we're in this lockdown situation. And the other thing that happened over the last 18 months or so is that there have been a lot of projects that have been really cross the academy. So it's not just somebody from it's not just a project for that's done completely internally, say in the project center or in the conference center. Things have been working very in a cross academy way, and so there's cross fertilization, and we would really like to capitalize on that. We'd like to build that. So the idea really is that to try to get something, the idea of business development out there, so that everybody can talk about it, everybody can be contributing in one way or another, and this is the beginning of that conversation. So I can see I have Marie-Louise and I have Garrod and I have Mary. I don't see Sinead, so maybe somebody might be able to help Sinead to get in if she's waiting. So I can see that we have about 14 minutes left in this session. I've got a counter, and I'm not sure you can see your counter on your timeline as well. So just to begin with, I'm going to introduce each of the panelists and ask them to say a little bit about their own unit and how they do business development. And first of all, I'll start with Marie-Louise, and she might say a little bit about On Air as well. Marie-Louise, do you want to take over now?
Certainly. Thank you, Pat, for the introduction. Okay. Welcome everybody to On Air, which is our new form for delivering events and conferences virtually. As you can imagine, the most recent events of the most recent months definitely changed the future of the conference office. in a way we had never imagined or anticipated. We always would have been very comfortable and familiar with organizing physical events on campus or off campus, working side by side as a collaborative team, and this has really thrown up a lot of challenges for us. But very early on, the team started to look at all of the different options that are out there with regards to virtual events. And luckily, our partner, our existing partner, Eventsair, was in development of this platform to look at On Air. It is a unique platform. It allows us to pretty much mirror exactly what a physical event, the different types of environments, the different types of rooms. So we can have a panel discussion, something very similar that you're looking at now. We can have a plenary sessions, we can have poster sessions, we can do networking and also have discussion groups. So it's something that we can pretty much mirror what we would do from a physical event standpoint, which is really amazing. So credit to the team for putting so much work and effort into development, particularly Shan, of this on-air platform. We also have Michael Keneally, who's supporting both Cubs marketing and comms and the international office, and he's learning more and more about the other types of platforms that we can use, like StreamYard and YouTube live streaming. So lots of exciting things happening, lots of learning going on in the conference office, and lots of reimagining of our scope of services. Prior to lockdown, also, we would have been very focused on our business development for 2020. We had a full engagement strategy of what we were going to do to basically develop on the word of mouth type of campus conversation and business development that we had previous to that. And we were going to get a little bit more, I won't say aggressive, but a little bit more, encourage more and more engagement with the university community. So that's again kind of been thrown through a loop. So we're going to reimagine that as well. So we'll be working with the Academy Marketing and Comms team to reimagine that as well. And once we are in a really comfortable place with On Air, we'll be going out there and selling it across campus and outside campus as well. So I hope that's given you a bit of a flavor of our business development strategy. And we'll be very much encouraging the use of On Air because it's such a suitable system for the services that the conference office deliver. So I haven't gone over on time, and I'll hand back over to Pat, who can hand over.
Thanks, Mary-Louise. That's great. And obviously, you know, we have thought that On Air is a great platform, but it actually might be useful in other ways. And I don't maybe come back to that at another time, but it may be useful for things other than conference, so we can talk about that. Sinead, would you like to take over and tell us a little bit about the Project Centre Business Development?
Yeah, I can. Can you see and hear me? It's a little bit dark in here because, well, it's a sunny day in a positive way. So business development, I mean, we're in the thick of it right now. So have you got an hour? It's kind of how I originally started. So I think it's like you said, I think in many ways, the bulk of my time is spent in that space. But the work that the team do and the wider group do, any work that we secure or any suggestions internally and externally to work with the Academy come from the work that's been delivered on the ground. So in a very meaningful way, the value that people are driving on the various projects and their reputation that they're developing for themselves on behalf of the on behalf of the company has generally led to more business development. So that's been predominantly the main kind of source of leads. I think as we move into the next financial year, we're just keen to maybe look beyond the UCC group. It's kind of one customer, and I suppose most people in the business development world would feel a little bit nervous if you've just got one key customer and your pipeline of work depends on them. And there's other academic partners and strategic partners, as we would say, that could really benefit from the type of work that we could do within the costs that we work within and the reputation that we have. So in the next financial year, we'd love to see business development moving beyond the UCC group. And I think it's been part of everybody's role to some extent. So even if you're just working on a project proposal and mapping out how a project would work, the kind of benefits it needs to drive, and how we would structure it to get it done, and the key activities and deliverables. So I think even at all levels within my team, even working within the other teams for their expertise, because it's never just a project with just a project centre. You'd be working with your colleagues in the other areas to understand the elements of involvement that they may have, and then you cost it and everything, and you contract for it. So I think more than people realise, everybody's involved in business development, but it would be the bulk of my work, as opposed to people on the team who, once the project is secured, it's up to them to live up to the document and the promise that we've laid out that we can deliver within the time and the cost that we've said we would deliver. I'm not sure if you wanted me to talk anymore.
No, okay, okay, that's great. That's great. No, that's great, Sinead. Thanks. We'll come back again to that. I think, Garo, would you like to say something about international for us?
Yeah, so hello everybody. I'm just deputising for Michael today. He's caught up with a virtual fair. So yeah, again, I think there's always been an implicit understanding in the internationalization unit that it's not just the job of management to do this business development piece. In fact, all of our roles, although we're international managers, we are essentially business development. And if business development is the creation of, new markets, new customers, new relationships, that's exactly what we do, and that's our bread and butter. And I guess we look at it, we always come at it from it happens organically in many instances, but it comes in 3 phases, and you can look at that awareness phase, where you have a meeting with somebody, either intentionally or incidentally, and you speak about, you hear something that you feel may be an opportunity for the academy. And then you follow up with that and you do further engagement with them, whether that's adding somebody on LinkedIn or following up and saying, it was good to chat with you the other day. This is a suggestion. This is something you may benefit from an academy service if you want to drive this project forward. And then it's that piece of converting them. So come to them with the project's proposal and a price and try to get that over the line. And I usually like to talk in examples. And if I was to look at examples, for example, of internally, where you're looking internally at UCC, and the piece around CEFS, where we rolled out a new international manager there. And that came out of conversations that Michael would have had with somebody in computer science at a town hall being delivered by the president and sat beside them. And it gained traction then, and then maybe an incidental conversation with the head of CEFS at the time, Paul Ross, and that all based, momentum, and these will very often lag. And I think that's where we all have to understand that we all have something to bring to the table here. Similarly, with an external client, I was at a stag party in Kenmare a couple of years ago, bumped into a guy who was the CEO of a nursing recruitment company, mentioned to him what I did. He said, oh, there could be synergies there. And you make sure on that Monday morning that you are following up with that person. And we did at the time, and we almost got it over the line in terms of signing an agreement with one of the largest nursing recruitment agencies in the UK and Ireland. And that relationship is not dead. So I guess what you should take from this is all your conversations you're having internally or externally, there's a business opportunity there. And I guess what's the learnings we need from this sort of platform today is, if I do have an idea, who do I bring it to? How do I get that enacted? And what are the channels for me to say, I spoke with somebody and I think this could be interesting. What do I do next? And, as long as we can really understand that and cross-sell, it'll be beneficial for all of us. So thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Gerard. That's very helpful. And I'll say a little bit about Prime because, as I said, Magdalena and the others are up against the deadline tomorrow, so they're very hard at work. Prime, as you know, we work for researchers who are coordinating Horizon 2020 grants, and the project is really the selling. Essentially, is really getting people to know what Prime can offer and how it can help researchers to be successful in their project development. So the business development it's about communicating Magdalena gave a webinar last week, which was attended. That was organised by the Research Support Office and the Office of Research and Innovation. So it's really important that people know, and really it's just communicating what we do, and it's a very specialised. We have been looking at cross, not so much selling, but that there are other expertises within the academy that we could use. So, for example, one of the things that has come up recently is that there's a great deal of graphic design involved in putting together a very good proposal, and so that we may be able to use the services of somebody outside the Prime group in order to do that. But I'll finish there, and I'll ask Mary, who's representing essentially the core group, to say how the core supports business development.
Thanks, Pat. And I suppose for many of you, you will hear our group of people, we've been called core, business operations, business support. And I think we're currently landed more on business support because we see ourselves very much in a support to the 4 business units that are currently in existence. When the company was set up, we were very much externally focused in terms of the statutory and the compliance roles that we had to fulfill for the company, paying payroll, paying suppliers. But in the last 18 months to 2 years, we're now trying to focus internally, where we are there to support the business units from cradle to grave effectively in terms of everything that they do. I suppose just leveraging on one of the points that Garrod said, one of the things that we all know and have come to realise that is everything takes an awful long time to do in UCC, and that is very, very true for business development. And you might have started made a connection 2 years ago, but it might take the full 2 years of many interactions before they actually come and buy from you. Specifically, business support consists of HR, finance, and legal, and they would be the 3 basic ingredients that any company has in terms of doing business. We like to get involved with the business at the very beginning of new initiatives, because we feel when you get an understanding of where the business idea is coming from, you really get to add value in terms of how it should be structured from a contractual point of view, a pricing point of view, a tax point of view, because VAT is very, very important in everything that we do, because at 23%, it can be a significant cost both for us and for the client. So on that business development journey, it's really important that we're involved at the beginning, because we believe that we can identify any issues early, resolve them. So then that means that when you come to get the business over the line, it's very smooth, you meet all your deadlines, and it should be a really smooth process. Obviously, because we're across all the businesses, we also get learnings from having worked with Sinead's team in relation to project proposal and contracts. So that when it comes to do something with Prime or with International, there's a synergy there in terms of dealing with the clients, how they like to be contracted with, the terms that are important, the pricing. So that's the role that we play in terms of making sure that your job.
Okay, Mary.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you there, because we're just coming up to the end of the session. So everybody's, it's going to just stop, and we can come back to you later. So everybody go out and look at your timeline, and then you'll find how to join one of the groups. Okay.